Tell him you got his keys, cause you thought he needed them, but he's not coming back again. So he's gone, leaving then, you won't see him again.
When I was young, I wasn't like other children. I was raised between some animosity between my mother and my grandmother. It's because when I was a baby, my grandmother raised me up until I was about 5 years old. My grandmother didn't trust my mother with raising me. She was young. And sometimes she had a lot of anger issues. You see, my mother was abused by her parents. So therefore, because I grew up and I was closer to my grandmother, she was very jealous. So, as I grew up as a child, I wasn't close to her. I was closer to my grandmother. And she sensed it. So she always had this animosity towards me. I remember years ago, I went camping. I pulled up a tent and it started raining. I'm by myself sleeping. The sound of the rain hitting the tent, I was out like a light. I had this dream. I was in a European country, and it was raining. My mother was chasing me through this little village or a city. Everything looked like it was black and white in this dream. The roads were like a cobblestone. I'm running from door to door because my mother was chasing me through this old European streets with homes that were very close together. Every door I ran to, I was hoping that maybe somebody would open it and I would get in the house and they would save me from my mother. So I knocked and knocked on the door. Nobody came. I got up running again, running and looking behind me, and my mother was chasing me still. And it felt like she was getting closer to me. With every knock on the door, I hope that somebody would open it and pull me in. But nobody was opening the door. And my mother was getting closer and closer to me. I was so scared. In a dream, I was so young. And I'm crying and I'm running. It's raining, I'm all wet. Finally, I ran to this door and my heart was beating. I said, this door has to open. Please, let there be somebody there opened. You see, when my grandmother passed away, it was the hardest thing in my life. I cried for weeks on end. And for the first few months, I thought nothing else but her. In my eyes, she was my mother. So in this dream, I'm running and running and running, knocking on everybody's door, hoping that somebody would open the door and let me in so my mother doesn't catch me. I must have knocked on 4 or 5 doors. And she's running and getting closer and screaming for me to stop. I didn't want to stop. I just want to keep running. So finally I came up on his door and I knocked and knocked and knocked. Just before my mother grabbed me, the door opened and the woman pulled me inside and she slammed the door shut. It was dark in her home. It was so dark in her home. And she reached to the table and got this candle and brought it close to my face and her face. It was my grandmother that opened the door. And she took me in her arms and she said, "You're going to be all right. She's not going to catch you. She's not going to catch you." I had this dream many, many years ago, and I'll never forget it. Even in real life, when she sensed that my mother was angry with me, she would always jump in the middle and ask her why she was always yelling at me. I've had similar dreams like that of my grandmother coming to my rescue. And it was as if she never left me. She was always there. I miss her so much. I miss her so much.